Let's start by analyzing what is all about VAT control account. When we talk about VAT control account, guys, we are talking about the calculation of VAT that we are going to calculate in order for us to determine whether the amount is due to SARS or due to us. When we calculate a VAT control account, we must be able to answer this by at the end of the lesson. Okay, now what is due to SARS? Due to SARS means that we owe SARS some cash. Due to us simply means that SARS owe us. We have to get what? A refund. Okay, now VAT control account have a debit side also as well as credit side. Now everything that is VAT input must be recorded on the debit side, all output on the credit side. Okay, this is the other extra knowledge that you need to know on this account. Every time when business spend or if transaction happen, remember, as a business we don't want to spend, but we want money. If you find that there is no benefit, any transaction that does not have a benefit, just make sure that you record it on the debit side. If there is a benefit, just know that we have to pay SARS some cash. How so? I'm going to simplify it for you. When we sell goods to customer, we benefited as a business. We receive cash. It's going to be output and we have to pay SARS. But when we purchase or when we incur an expense, like for example, it can be bad debts, or when we purchase or any other thing that we are not going to benefit or receive any cash, it's going to be recorded as input. There is no benefit for it. We have to claim some cash from SARS. Okay, now let's check. In other words, when we record this side, we are simply means that we are owing SARS because we receive benefit. Okay, the information. Calculate the VAT amount that is payable to SARS. Already they told us that is going to be payable. Okay, number one, information number A. They said amount due to SARS on 1 August 2020 is 31,470. We owe SARS because we benefited, which means that our balance will be this side. The balance is 31,470. Okay, and let's check the transaction now. Remember, we only record VAT amount. Okay, which means that you must avoid excluding VAT and including VAT and focus on VAT column. Okay, then they said the total sales. Obviously, there is a benefit because we sold. We benefited from cash we received from customer. 80,250. We take VAT 1. Okay, number 2, purchase of stock. No benefit because we took money outside the business. Purchase is 57,750. Okay, discount received from supplier. We benefited. Remember, when we receive a discount from supplier, simply means that that discount amount, we didn't pay it. We benefited. When we benefit, this side. Okay, discount from supplier. It's not all discount that are regarded as a benefit. Discount given to customer, we didn't benefit because customer didn't pay us. It's gonna be input. Okay, then we have amount of 11,500, which we must calculate first. VAT is 15%, and we have exclusive. We must divide by 100. Then it's gonna give us amount of 1725. Okay, next one, goods returned by a debtor. If a debtor returned goods, did we benefit? No, which means that debtor returned goods and he need his money, which means that we didn't benefit. A return Okay, and we need to calculate, because we have input, the amount that we have is 22,500, which we must multiply by 15 over 100, and it's gonna give us a amount of 3,375. Okay, the next one, a stock taken by the owner costing 9,600. When the owner took goods, is there any benefit? Yes, the owner benefited because he took goods that he already claimed input. He took it for personal use. He already, remember, he took goods that we purchased here and we claim input. And when we purchased that stock, we told the sellers that this stock, we are going to claim it because we are going to sell it. But when the owner took it and no longer sell it, he benefited. He must pay SARS. Okay, it's the drawings. Drawings calculation is gonna be 9,600 multiplied by 15 over 100. Okay, 1,440. Okay, and the last one, debtors account written off. Bad debt, we didn't benefit. It's an expense. Okay, and now we have a 36,800, which is inclusive of VAT. We must divide by 115, and the amount will give us 48,960. Okay, in order for you to calculate whether amount is due or is receivable, because the question said is payable, already we know that this side is the higher one, because you can see we have 80,000 here. It's not closer to any of this. Okay, however, let's calculate. We have 31,470 plus 8025 plus 1725 plus 1440. This side we're gonna have 114585, and this side we have 57,750 plus 33,750 plus 48,960, which is going to give us 110 and 85. This side is higher, which means that this is what we owe SARS. This is what we are going to claim. Obvious now, when we subtract these two, 114,585 minus 110,085, we are going to owe SARS, due to SARS, which is going to give us 4,500. We owe SARS 4,500. So let's read our information. They said, fix the assets. The information related to Maluti Trader Ltd. financial year end 28 February 2023. Okay, required 4.1.1. Calculate depreciation on equipment and on vehicle for the year end 28 February 2023. Okay, then they said that provide one reason why company might decide to dispose of fixed assets. 4 marks, 2 marks. Then the first one is 14 marks. Okay, we have to calculate a depreciation. Number 1, 4.1.1. Number 1, we need to calculate depreciation of equipment. Okay, let's break this down. Then they said that information extracted from fixed assets balance. Number 1, we have vehicle and the accumulated depreciation of vehicle, equipment, and accumulated depreciation of equipment. And they give us balance at the beginning and balance at the end. Okay, information number 1. A new equipment cost price of 120,000 was bought on 1 May, and our year is ending 28 February 2023. Okay, so now we have to split this calculation. Number 1, we have to calculate depreciation of new equipment, and we do a calculation of old equipment. Okay, now let's first check the method that we need to use to calculate depreciation for equipment. They said number last, equipment is depreciated by 20% per annum on cost. Okay, which means that we are going to take our cost price of 120,000 and we multiply by 20%. Okay, then it's gonna give us a amount. Okay, we have to count months. Remember, it was purchased on 1 May. If you count from 1 May up to 28 February 2023, it's going to give you 10 months. 10 over 12. We just say May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. 10. Okay, then if you do this calculation, it's going to give you 20,000. 20,000. This one is for new equipment. Now we have to check old one. Old one, where do we check them? Under our balances. Okay, if you check under our balances, we have our accumulated depreciation of 440,000. And what about the cost price? Cost price we only have at the end. How do we get at the beginning? Very simple. We're just gonna take a beginning of 600,000 and we subtract one that has been bought during the year because it's already recorded. Okay, 120,000, which is going to give you amount of, I think it's 480. Yeah, 480,000. Okay, now we have 480,000 as our cost price and accumulated. Remember, we're using a cost price and our accumulated in this case is 440. Now you have to compare these two. 440. If you calculate another depreciation using by 480, you're going to say 480 multiplied by 20%, which is going to give you 96,000. But if this 96,000 of depreciation you add it with accumulated, is now going to exceed what? 480 of our cost price. Guys, value of item, if it's 50 rand, it can't be depreciate more than 50 rand. It can't lose value of more than 50 rand. It's rather left with 0. But the principle of accounting says that the current value must be left with at least 1 rand. Why? Because the main purpose of business is to get something, is to make a profit. You can't sell something by 0 rand. It's like a donation you are giving away. So the principle said we have to use 1 rand. At least we're going to get 1 rand if the value has completely depreciated. So, which means that the rule of subtracting, of taking this 96,000 as depreciation is not going to apply. Why? Because now it's going to exceed our cost price, because 440 of accumulated of last year and depreciation of this year is going to give you 500 and something. Okay, so which means that in this case we have to use the method of 1 rand. Okay, how do we apply this method? It's very simple. We got 480 our cost price, and we have our accumulators of 440,000. Okay, if you calculate this two, is going to give you the carrying value of how much? Of 40,000. This carrying value at the beginning, what we need to do, we just subtract 1 rand. This 1 rand is carrying value. Is carrying value, and if you would subtract these two, is going to give us the difference of depreciation, which means that depreciation is going to give us 40,000 minus 1 rand is going to give you 39 rand 990. This is a depreciation. Okay, it's a depreciation. It's depreciation. This is the current value at the end. This is the current value at the beginning. If you take current value at the end and beginning, you compare them, what happened during the year, we call it depreciation. It's a movement that happened during the year. So now we have done with this calculation. That's how you should apply this principle. Take this one, and this one is going to give you the total of 59,999 depreciation for the year. Okay, so that's how you need to apply if you find a case like this. Okay, moving to the next one. We have vehicle. We have to calculate for vehicle now. Okay, vehicle. The first one, we have a new vehicle that was bought. We're gonna calculate a new and old. Okay, let's start by a new one. A new vehicle was bought on 1 September 2022 for amount of 315,000, and they said vehicle use carrying value to depreciate. Because it's new, no carrying value needed. Multiply by 20%. We use 315 minus 0 because depreciation is 0 so far. Okay, and we have to count a month from 1 September 2022 up to 28 February 2023. It's going to give you 5/12. Okay, then in this case it's gonna give you how much? Okay, let me check the calculation. It's going to give you 31,500. All right, now we have to go to the old one. Very simple, guys. So please, guys, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed, because this channel is the only channel that is going to assist you to learn every chapter without doubting, without dodging any chapter. We are going to record all the chapters so that you guys, you can enjoy accounting and get distinctions. So please make sure that you subscribe, because the more subscribers are increasing like this. Now we are on 8,000 something. We're about to reach 9,000 subscribers, which we are going to reach 10,000 before June. So please subscribe. The reason why we keep recording is for those who have subscribed before. Okay, now let's continue with our calculation under a vehicle. So remember, we have calculated a new one, we have to calculate the old one, and also we have sold the one that has been sold. So in order to make it simple, let's first calculate the sold one. On 31 July 2022, a vehicle was sold by 81,000 cash. Originally, cost price was 164,000, and accumulated depreciation on 1 March 2022 was 56,000. So they didn't give us completed accumulated depreciation, which means that we must first calculate accumulated depreciation from 1 March up to the day that they sold, which is 31 July, which is going to be how many months? March, April, May, June, July. It's going to be 5 months. Okay, now this is how we are going to calculate it. Okay, here is not 5 months, it's 6 months. Okay, now let's calculate this one. 5 months is for the one that has been sold. Apologize about that. We're gonna take our cost price of 164,250 minus 56,250. Then after that, we're gonna multiply with our 20%, and then we multiply by 5/12. Okay, which is going to give us 9,000. This is depreciation number 1. This is number 2. Now we are going to calculate the remaining, which is old one. Okay, old one, guys, we must first subtract the one that we sold. Then we're gonna left with the other remaining old one. Okay, this is how we are going to do it. The cost price was 444,150 minus what has been sold, 164,250. Okay, and we have to subtract accumulated depreciation for both. Okay, 162 the old one minus 56 of the one that has been sold, 56,250. If you get answer here, you get answer here, you take answer and subtract this answer, which is going to give you Okay, then you multiply by 20%, which is going to give you the final answer of 34,808. Okay, in order for you to get total for vehicle, you take this one plus this one and this one. Okay, it's gonna be 31,500 plus 34,830 plus 9,000 is equal to 75,330, just like that. Okay, the next one, provide one reason why company might decide to sell or to dispose a fixed asset. Probable is because it's outdated. This time around we are using mostly laptop. We are no longer using those old computers, which means that we can sell our computer in order for us to buy a new one. Okay, or the other reason, we are looking for better technology, better model, and so on and so on. Any valid reason is acceptable. Okay, so that's how we should do our calculation under fixed assets, guys. Okay, the last part that we also need to do, okay, management of fixed assets. So per deliver service on 3 delivery vehicle. Okay, I can't see, guys, there's a light of a sun. Okay, so per delivery service on 3 delivery vehicle. Okay, then Philip, the owner, is concerned about the control of the vehicle. He obtained some information from the supervisor and requested you for assistance. Identify one different problem with regard each vehicle and quote figures provided 1 point of advice for each identified problem. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the solution for this one. We've been given vehicle 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so under vehicle 1, they identify that as you can see, only 360 kilometers has been covered with only 24 trips, and the owner, the driver is getting paid 11,000, which is very high for this little job. Okay, what advice can we give? Assign more trips to this vehicle, or you can swap this driver to vehicle number 3. Okay, vehicle 2 highest paid driver is in vehicle 2 is in 13,000, which is very high for this 780 kilometers compared to vehicle number 3. Okay, advice, we have to provide a driver with workload because he's getting paid a lot. Then vehicle number 3 is very old. As you can see, the value is only 1 rand. It's very old and is fully depreciated. We need to replace this vehicle. So I hope you learn something, guys, and you enjoy. Please, right, let's read number 1. They said perfect fit manufacturer. The business produce a formal sheet or shirt the financial year ended 28 February 2021 and the required 2.1.1. Prepare production cost statement. This is the format that you need to know. Okay, then 2.1.2, we have to calculate gross profit and markup. Okay, let's go straight to production cost statement. Okay, so when you calculate production cost statement, guys, know the format like you did when you prepare income statement and balance sheet. You start with direct material plus direct labor, which is going to give you a prime cost, and you add factory overhead, which we also call it indirect cost. Indirect cost. Okay, then it's gonna give you, when you add this one, it's gonna give you total manufacturing, and you take opening balance under work in progress, you subtract balance at the end, then it's gonna give you total cost of production. It's very simple. Only allocate items that fall under production. All items that fall under production or manufacturing, just record them here. Administrative and selling and distribution don't include any expense under this account. Okay, let's check. They give us stock on hand. Then balance at the beginning, work in progress, we have it is 230. 230. It's fine. You can start anywhere, guys, as long as if you have available balance, you can just record. Balance at the end, we're going to put it here, but we don't have it. Okay, then let's proceed. Finished goods, we're gonna do it when we calculate cost of sales. Okay, number B, the bookkeeper calculated the cost below. Some errors were made. Direct material, before any error has been made, it was 1,575,000. We're gonna check the transaction. Then direct labor, they didn't give us anything. We're gonna go to transaction. Okay, let's start by this part first of prime cost. If we quickly go to number D, they said the prime cost is 2,550,000. 2,550,000. It was given a prime cost in this question paper. Okay, then now let's check our transaction number 1 under number C. Payment to quick delivery of 75,000 for carriage on raw material. You know that delivery, or we can also call it a transport or carriage on purchase, it must also included under direct material. Okay, they said it was incorrectly allocated to selling and distribution. It was supposed to be here, and they recorded under selling and distribution by mistake, which means that if we were also required to prepare selling and distribution, we were going to subtract it that side and edit this side plus 75,000 because it's belong here. Okay, but because in this case we don't have selling and distribution question, we are not going to subtract it anyway. We're just going to edit here, and it's going to give us 1,650,000. Obviously, they are not going to give us direct labor because they give us prime cost, which means that we just have to take this one minus this one, and it's going to give us 900,000. 900,000. Simple. Now let's go to our factory overhead. Okay, a factory overhead amount that we've been given initially is amount of 518,800. Then after that, we need to check transaction number 2 under number C, error and omission. The entire insurance amount of 25,000 was transferred to administrative costs, and we were supposed to do 2/3 of this expense will be allocated to factory. 2/3 of 25,000 is the one that we're supposed to be allocated to factory overheads. What do we do now? Because it was already recorded, which means that it was already transferred to administrative. We were going to subtract that side because that side of admin we don't have required here. We're just going to allocate our 2/3 by saying, let me calculate it here. I'm going to wrap. We're going to say 25,200 by 2/3. Then it's going to give you amount of plus 16,000. It's belong here. We have to edit. The 16,800. This is how you calculate it. Very simple. Let's wrap so that we can have a space for other allocation. Okay, we are not done with factory overheads. Bullet number 3. Factory overheads cost include amount of 117,600 for water and electricity. The bookkeeper had incorrectly allocated this expense to factory, administrative and selling distribution at a ratio of 6:3:1, and the correct ratio is 5:4:1. What do we do now? Very simple. Firstly, this 117, you need to know that it's not a total, but it's 6 that has been allocated to factory overhead, and we were supposed to allocate 5. So what do we do in this case? Is either you can say 117,600 multiplied by, we are looking for 5 out of 6. Okay, let me calculate this and confirm. 117,600 multiplied by 5/6. Okay, 98,000 is the one that was supposed to be allocated. They were supposed to allocate the lesser amount, and they recorded 117. Do we have to record 98,000? No, because 117 was already recorded, which means that they record a high amount. We need to just subtract the different. Okay, if you subtract 117 by 98, we have to get amount of 19,600. The reason why we are subtracting is because they recorded higher amount instead of lower amount. If they recorded lower amount instead of higher, we're going to add so that it's gonna be equal to the amount that was supposed to be recorded. Very simple. Okay, so this was 16 marks for free. Okay, now we can close because we don't have any other transaction. Then you're gonna get amount of 516,000, just like that. Okay, so before we proceed, I hope you already enjoy. Please guys, make sure that you subscribe so that this video will reach more learners that want to learn grade 12. Remember, grade 12 guys is very important to everyone, to future of everyone, because if you don't have a good results for grade 12, lot of doors are going to be closed. So in order for this video to reach more people, is because you guys you keep liking, you keep subscribing. The more you like, you are helping someone to be recommended this video, because YouTube is going to see that this video is very useful. So please, to like is very important to someone's life. Let's do so and subscribe. Okay, moving to the next one. Now we are going to total manufacturing. We just add these two and you're gonna get amount of 3 million and let me check, 3,066,000, just like that. Okay, now we left with this balance and this balance. We have to get one so that we can get the other one as a balancing figure. Okay, we can, because they didn't give us work in progress at the end, we can find this one. Number E, 7,600 shirts were produced by unit cost of 420. We're just gonna multiply these two, and 7,600 multiplied by 420, which is going to give us 3,192,000. Now it's going to be simple. We just have to get total after this one, then we're gonna get our opening balance. You add these two, you're gonna get 3,296,000, and after that we get the difference between these two. Then closing stock is always minus, guys. 104,000, just like that. This is how you prepare production cost statement, but you have to make sure that you watch my other videos of manufacturing so that you will learn other transaction, because transaction are different if you check other question paper as well. But let's go to the next one, 2.1.2 gross profit. Gross profit, we have to use the simple formula, which is sales minus cost of sales. Okay, let's start by sales because it's going to be simple for us. Sales, we have it under number E, is 4,860,000 minus cost of sales of how much? How are we going to calculate cost of sales? It's very simple. You take opening of finished goods plus total cost of production and you subtract closing of finished goods. Okay, let's do it. Opening of finished goods is 342,000 plus 3,192,000, and we subtract closing. Closing, guys, they give us 400 shirts. You just said 400 shirts multiplied by 420. 420, we got it under number E because they said it's 420 each. We just multiply by number of shirts of 400, then we're gonna get an amount of 168. If you do this, you're going to get a cost of sales of 3,366,000. Sales minus cost of sales is gonna give you a gross profit of 1,400,000. 494,000. Very simple. The last one, markup achieved. A markup achieved, guys, you have to use the formula which is called a gross profit divided by cost of sales. Gross profit, we have it, we calculate it, is this one. It's 149,400, and then you divide by the cost of sales. Cost of sales, we calculate it here. It's 3,366,000. Then you multiply by 100. Then it's gonna give you 44.4%. That's how this question paper was simple. I picked this question because it's different with the previous one that we covered under this topic of inventory. Okay, let's look at the question that we have. Okay, this question paper also contains a donation. It's very rare to find a donation under this topic, but I'm going to show you how you are going to calculate this. Okay, they said you are provided with the information on happy heads and the business sell sun heads. They use a periodic inventory system and the weighted average method to value their stock. The business is owned by Happiness Nelson. The manager is responsible for the day-to-day running the business. So Happiness is the owner and Nelson is the manager. Number one, you are required to calculate a value of closing stock on 28 February 2022 is 10 marks, and you are required to calculate gross profit as well. Okay, let's go to information and calculate our closing value. Remember, they said that this business is using weighted average method. Okay, 3.1.1 weighted average method. All right, you know, when we calculate weighted average method, we're just going to take all totals divide by number of units. Okay, the first total that we are going to take is opening, which is 63,140, and we add with purchase, which is total is 328,330. Okay, and we check if we have any return. Yes, we have different return, which in total is 3,740 minus 3,740. So if you check other previous question papers, you will find that this was the last part that we end. But now, because we also have a donation, number D, 20 sun heads from May 2021 bench were donated to local school who took learners on educational tour. So in other words, this is not available for sale. Remember, average, weighted average, we only calculate item which was available for sale. So this donation is no longer with us. We have to subtract it. But they give us only 20. This is not value. 20, we are going to write it here when we divide. But here we want what? A total value. So this 20 is from May bench. So let's go to May bench and check the price. May, it was costing 135 plus 10 rand of carriage, which means that it was 145 in total because there was a carriage. If there was carriage, it's like a transport cost. We have to include it, which means that you're going to say 20 multiplied by 145. 145, we got it by saying 135 plus 10. Simple. Okay, if you calculate this, it's going to give you amount of 2,900. Okay, now we have to write the unit of those amount that we take. Okay, opening balance, it was 412 plus purchases of 2010, and we subtract return of 22, and we also subtract 20 of donation. Okay, then in total on top we are going to get 384,830, and the other bottom side 2,380, and we have to multiply by closing stock. A closing stock, we have 320 units. Then now we can get our total of 51,740, 8, which we can round it and say 41. This is our closing stock. So if you do this, guys, it's going to give you 10 marks. A lot of marks are here. You have to make sure that you show everything. 10 marks for free. Okay, the next question, we have to calculate a gross profit. Formula, it says sales minus cost of sales. Okay, let's first identify the sales. Number E, 1,986 heads were sold during the financial year and the selling price was 220, which means that you need to multiply. Okay, so if you multiply these two, you are going to get amount of 436 and 920. Okay, after that you need to subtract a cost of sales. A cost of sales, because we are using a periodic inventory system, we need to calculate it using a formula which says opening plus purchase minus closing. Our opening, we had 63. Okay, let me just show it here. Opening 63 140 plus purchase of 328 330 minus return of 3740 and minus 2,900 of donation and minus closing of 51,741. This calculation is going to give you a cost of sales which is amounted to 333089. Then if you say sales minus cost of sales, is going to give you a gross profit of 103,831. Just like that. That's how you should complete this 6 marks. It was 6 marks, this one, and this one is 11 marks. So make sure, guys, that you have subscribed to this channel so that you will get more videos. Those who want to join our extra class, just text us on WhatsApp so that you can be able to also consult on WhatsApp if you are part of our extra class. However, guys, you can also join on a YouTube. We have a option which, if you can see, it is written join. So you can also join so that you can watch members videos as well, if you don't want the one that we do on WhatsApp and also a Telegram. Okay, let's proceed. Now we are going to theory part. I always say this, when it comes to inventory, guys, don't ignore a theory part, because you are just going to calculate some few calculation and after that they want you to explain something. Okay, 3.1.2 3.1.2, they said Happiness discovered that Nelson had stopped buying from their regular supplier of heads in August 2021 without informing him about his change. He also discovered that the new supplier is Nelson's cousin. Okay, then now the question says, what advice can you offer Happiness in this regard? 32 point. The owner, guys, find that the manager is now buying to his cousin. In other words, he changed the previous supplier to his cousin so that he can also do what? Benefit. So now, what can we advise the owner in this case? We need to advise the owner what we can do, okay, to avoid this situation. Number one, manager must be given a warning. Must be given a warning. Okay, then another one, company must purchase to a supplier with better price and better quality. Okay, as a company, guys, we don't have to focus on favor of someone. We need to focus on what can we do to make our customer happy, which means that our product must be of quality. Okay, so you can give so many examples, guys. There must be a policy as well. The company must write down the policy that this is not allowed. You don't have to include your personal interest into a business. Okay, it was 4 marks, so 1.2 marks. Okay, then the next part, 3.2, management of stock and problem solving. In addition to sun hats, Happiness has also sell sunglasses and beach bags. Okay, information from their stock record on 28 February 2022 is provided. Number 1, required number 1, 3.2.1. Because of problem with stock theft, Happiness has installed security camera. Despite this, he thinks that sun hats are still been stolen. He installed the camera, but he's thinking that no man, people are stealing the stock. Okay, then provide a calculation to verify that sun hats are being stolen and give 2 points of advice to Happiness to address this problem. Okay, we need to calculate and be sure that the hats are being stolen. Okay, let's take the information of hats. Number of opening, okay, let me write it, 3.2.1. Number of heads at the beginning, it was 412, and the one that we purchased and return, it was 1,968. It's like a net purchase after we return. Okay, and now we have to subtract what we sold, which is 1,986, and after that we have to subtract a closing of 320. Okay, so this will give us a number of goods that have been stolen, which is 74 units. Yes, now we can confirm to the owner that 74 units has been stolen. Okay, now to advice. We have to give 2 advice. Okay, let me rub here so that we can have space. Advice, we need to give advice now. Advice number 1, we must improve, we have to improve a security. Okay, number 2, we must have regular stock count. Number 3, okay, actually they were looking for 2, but let me give you another one. We must have restriction of access to storeroom. Where we put our store, guys, we have to make sure that no one just enter there. Okay, I think that's it. So let's go to the last one. Happiness is unsure whether he is charging the correct price for the sunglass and the beach bags, is other 2 products. Okay, give him advice on each product and quote the figure. Okay, let's start by sunglasses. Let's start by sunglasses. Okay, under sunglasses, if you can check a markup, guys, he's charging 25% only, and the goods that has been sold, okay, you check a markup. Markup is 25%. Okay, another point, he sold 1,850 units, and stock holding is 52 days. In other words, he spent only 52 days to sell this stock. Okay, and the closing stock was only 208. This indicated that most of people are buying this goods, and this goods is we can advise the owner that he can keep charging this price because everyone can be able to do what? To afford it. But if you check beach bags, Okay, beach, bags. If you check the markup, guys, 80%. He's charging 80% markup. And if you check stock holding period, it's 163 days. He took 163 days to sell these goods, which means that these goods are expensive. So now we can advise the owner that he must reduce this markup, because most of people are not buying these goods because they are very expensive. So that's how you should treat inventory, guys. Please make sure that you subscribe. We are going to discuss a creditors reconciliation statement. So this is the format that we have been given according to this question paper that was written in 2019. So it was a common test. All right. So as you can see on the required part, they said that we are only looking for 3.3, which is the creditors reconciliation statement. So you can also attempt 3.1 as well as 3.2 and tell me on the comment section what do you think is the answer. I will come and comment according to your answer that you provided. Okay, reconcile the creditors ledger account of Sitole supplier in the books of Chavalala Traders with the statement received. Okay, now let's go to a transaction. Okay, information number A, they said that a creditors ledger of Chavalala Traders is this one, is our books, in other words. Then after that, they give us a statement. Then we need to do the following difference were found when comparing the creditors ledger to the statement. So this is the adjustment that we are going to do. Okay, then let's start with the balance first. So the balance is, we are going to take the one from the creditors ledger and we take the one from the statement, then we take it from there. So as you can see, the last balance on the creditors ledger, it was 34,905, and under a statement it was 35,808. As you can see, this amount are not the same. Simple means that we need to do what? To reconcile. Okay, then number one, they said that invoice 843 was recorded incorrectly in the creditors ledger. What you need to know first, guys, is that when we talk about a creditors ledger, it's increase on the credit and decrease on the debit, and the statement do opposite with the creditors, which means that if we debit this side, this other side we need to credit. Okay, then invoice 843 was recorded incorrectly in the creditors ledger. Let's check invoice for 843. Okay, as you can see, it was recorded as 4,770, and if you can check on the statement, it was supposed to be 7,740. So this amount was credited under a creditors ledger, which means that they add less amount, which means that we have to add the different so that it can be equal with 7,740, because on the transaction they say that it was incorrect on the creditors ledger, which means that we have to rectify here. Okay, so now, which means that you are going to say 7,000, this is the calculation, 7,740 minus 4,770, then your answer will be 2,970, just like that. That's how you correct this one, and you have to show that it's a plus because you are adding on the credit side if you were drawing T account. Okay, then the following one, they said that the statement did not reflect discount for early payment on 10, and the creditors ledger is correct. Okay, there is a discount of 875 that was debited, which means that it was also supposed to be credited this side, and when we credit, we're supposed to subtract, because when we talk about discount to reduce what? Liability. Okay, that's why it's a minus 875. Okay, we have to show it this side because they were only recorded this side and they said that it was correct. Okay, then the next one, they said that it was discovered that invoice number 1062 in the statement include goods valued 1000 ordered by the owner for personal use. Then the bookkeeper was not aware of this. So when we talk about owner purchase item for personal use, we know it very well that it's drawings, but it doesn't mean that it should not form part of these two statements, because we are not talking about third party. But if we are talking about another business which is not part of this, we have to exclude it totally. But when we talk about drawings, it's related to the owner, which means that we have to show it as a drawings. Okay, now let's take where the mistake happened here. So this amount was also supposed to be recorded under creditors ledger account. That's why they say that the bookkeeper was not aware. The bookkeeper does not record the statement, only record our books. So we have to do what? To edit is amount of 1000. It's like when you purchase on credit, liability will go up. Okay, when we talk about invoice, we receive it when we purchase item on credit, but a receipt is when we make a payment to our creditors. Okay, now number 4 or number 3. Okay, this one was supposed to be here. It's a plus 1000. Yeah, now let's go to the next one. Goods valued 890 were returned to Sithole supplier on 16. It showed as debit entry in both creditors ledger as well as on the statement. So they recorded this amount of 890 on the debit. A goods return is going to reduce liability. Yes, it's supposed to be debited on the creditors ledger, which means that this side is correct. But this side of supplier, it showed that it has increased liability. If we return something, we are not going to pay for it, which means that we have to do what? To subtract, to indicate that liability has decreased. So this amount was on the debit side, which means that we have to cancel so that we can also do what? Record, which means that this is the transaction that you are going to record this amount twice. They want to cancel and they want to record. So it's amount of minus 890. We are cancelling the one on the debit, then the other one minus 890 we are recording on the credit side, just like that. Okay, if you add these two, you are going to get amount of minus 1708. Okay, then the next one, they said that invoice number 772 on the statement was error made by Sithole supplier. Sithole supplier is this one. These goods were not purchased by Chavalala traders, which means that this is related to a third party, which means that invoice 772 we have to subtract it. Okay, it's amount of 3860. We subtract it because it's not related to us. Okay, then the last one, they say that goods purchased by Chavalala traders has not been recorded by Sithole supplier. If you check, we recorded amount of 9560 on 28, but when we check this statement, number B of our supplier, it's not there at all, which means that we have to do what? To record, because it's on the credit side, it has increased liability. Even on the statement, we are going to show increase of 9560. Then after that, we have to record the totals. If you calculate the total this side, you are going to get amount of 38,875. Please, you said this one plus this one. This is the calculation. This one plus this one plus this one, you will get this one. In case where you have a minus like this, you have to subtract. And if you do the same, you're going to get the same amount of 38,875. That's how you balance a creditors ledger account. Very simple and straightforward. So let's look at the question paper that we have. Number 1.1, they said give the reason why it is important for business to prepare a bank reconciliation statement each. Okay, I already drafted from 1.2 until 1.4. So in this one, we are just going to discuss a possible answers. Okay, so answer number one, according to the memorandum, they said the reason why to prepare a bank reconciliation statement is to improve internal control, to minimize a fraud error because record are checked to external source. Okay, obviously before we allow those external people to come to our company and do auditing, we must make sure that everything is correct. Okay, number two, to compare a books of the business with that the bank in order to detect error or dishonest at the early stage. Okay, if there is any error, guys, or fraud or dishonest transaction, we have to make sure that we detect it as soon as possible, because bank reconciliation statement, we prepare it each and every month. Okay, the last one, to reconcile the bank statement balance with the bank account balance. What you have to know, guys, is that amount that we paid must be exactly the same that reflects on the what, on the bank statement. Okay, so what is on our books must be the same with what is on the statement from the bank. Okay, then now let's go to a major question. Number 1.2, they say that we have to calculate the correct total of cash receipts and cash payment journal. Number 3, we calculate the bank balance. Number 4, we calculate the bank reconciliation statement. Okay, now let's check our information and we start with our question without wasting any other time. Number 1, at the end of previous month, 30 April 2023, the following items were reflected in the bank reconciliation statement. Okay, this is the previous statement because what we are preparing is for May. Okay, for the previous statement, bank reconciliation statement, it had a favorable balance of 6,325. Okay, on the ledger account. Ledger account is this one, is cash receipt and cash payment. Okay, it also has a favorable balance on the bank statement of 12,000 and outstanding deposit, which is dated 30 April of 12,000. You have to take note of this. Okay, and outstanding EFT number 519 and 543. And note, EFT number 519 did not appear on the bank on May bank statement. Okay, which means that if it's not appeared, we have to record it again. Okay, we're gonna discuss this when we proceed. Number 2, on 31 May 2023, the provisional total in the journal were cash receipt journal and cash payment journal, which means that before we proceed with our cash receipt and payment, we must start with the total. Okay, total for cash receipts journal, number 1, it was amount of 70,600. For cash payment, we start with the total of 105,320. This is before adjustment that we are going to do. Okay, transaction number 3, a direct deposit by tenant K Kwela, 7,400. So a direct deposit, guys, obviously is cash receipt journal. Okay, which means that we're gonna have a direct deposit. Okay, amount is amount of 7,400. Okay, then the next one, they said a bank charge is 520. Obviously bank charge is cash payment journal because we paid. Bank charge is 520. Okay, then the following one, remember we are reading items that are not reflected on the what, on the journals, but they are reflected on the bank statement. Okay, we have to record them here because they are here, but here they are not here. Everything must be here and here as well. Okay, then interest on fixed deposit for May is 700. Interest on fixed deposit, we receive interest, obviously must be cash receipt journal. Interest income, interest on fixed deposit, because we invested is income to us, 700. Okay. Then interest on overdue is expense. Interest on overdue. Okay, and the amount is 810. Okay, then the other one, the stop order in favor of Rama Insurance is 6,860 and 5,500 for business insurance, and the remaining is for owner personal use. So for this one, obvious, number one, we are going to adjust insurance. We don't adjust the whole balance, guys, because the other one is drawings. Okay, insurance is 5,500. They said for business is 5,500, and for personal use, which we call it drawings, it's gonna be the difference between 5,500 and amount of 6,860. You just say 6,860 minus 5,500. You will get the difference of 1,360. Very simple. Okay, I think on this part we are done. Number 4, they say the following difference were noticed. EFT number 565 for repair recorded in the cash receipt, cash payment journal as 5,770, but 1,750 on the bank statement, and the bank statement is correct. In other words, we recorded less amount instead of higher amount. We recorded 1,570 instead of 1,750. What do we do now? We have to find the difference, and we go and add its amount of repairs. Okay, this is how you calculate different, guys. 1,750 minus 1,570. Okay, you're gonna get the difference of 180. Just like that. Very simple. Okay. And another transaction, they said a deposit of 12,000 appear in the bank statement on 1 May 2023, but not appear in the cash receipts of May. If you check on our previous statement, we have 12,000, which is outstanding deposit dated 30 April. So in this transaction, we are not going to adjust anything because this transaction appear on the previous bank reconciliation statement dated 30 April 2023. However, there is no action that we have to take. If it's a duplication, when we prepare bank reconciliation statement for the next month, they are going to do what? To do a follow-up, and they give us a notice. But in this case, there is nothing that we are going to do. Okay, otherwise we are going to do a duplication. All right. Number 3, a deposit of 20,295 dated 20 May 2023 appear in the cash receipts journal for May, but not in the bank statement for May. Okay, this we call it outstanding deposit under cash bank reconciliation statement. Okay, and the following EFT payments appear on the cash payment, but not on the bank statement. We are going to do that when we go to reconciliation. I think on this part, we are done. Now we can determine total this side and total this side. Okay, so if you calculate on the cash receipts, you're gonna get 78,700, and this other side you get 113,690. Very simple. We are done with 1.2. Then 1.3, they said that we have to calculate the bank balance. How do we calculate the bank balance? Obviously, the first one, we have to start with opening balance, and we do this adjustment of these two. Then we're going to get balance at the end. Balance at the beginning, we're going to find it on number 1. A favorable balance in the ledger is 6,325. Okay, then after that, we add cash receipts. Because we receive, we add. We pay, we subtract 113,690 of cash payment. Okay, and you will get amount of 28,665, just like that. Okay, now let's proceed. Bank reconciliation statement. Number one, we're gonna have balance as per bank statement. Okay, and we're gonna have a credit outstanding, deposit, and we're gonna have a debit outstanding, check. Okay, we're gonna list them here. Then after that, we're gonna have balance as per bank account. Okay, then after that, we're gonna see if everything has balance. All right, now let's start with balance as per bank statement. The last one, number 5, they said the bank statement show an overdrawn balance of 34,720. If it's overdrawn, it come on the debit side. Remember, cash receipt is recorded on the credit side when it comes to reconciliation. Cash payment is on the debit side. Because it's overdrawn, which means that it's negative now, it's on the payment side. We owe, in other words, is 34,720 this side. But if it was favorable, it was going to credit side. Okay. Outstanding deposit, guys, we read it on number 4. They said it's 20,295. It's 20,295. Okay. Then outstanding check, we have check number 654 and 674. The other one is 2,800. The other one is 2,520. But guys, we also have to go on the previous statement and check. Remember on number 1, they said note, EFT number 519 did not appear on May bank statement, which means that EFT number 1519, we have to check it. Amount is 8,920. We have to go and record this. 8,920. Check number 519. Just like that. Okay. Then after that, which one do we have to record? Balance as per bank account. Balance as per bank account, guys, we already recorded, calculated, is this one. 28,665. Okay, it's positive. If it's positive, which means that is cash receipt. But when it go to this side, we have to credit it. Okay, it's 28,665. You have to make sure that when you record, they have to swap it the side. What you record on the debit here you record on the credit. Credit on the debit, just like that. So if you calculate these two, this side and this side, you will find that the balances, they are the same. Okay, it will give you 48,960, 48,960, just like that. It was question 2.3.1. Okay, let's start with 2.3.1. They said calculate the following for the year end 30 April 2018. Okay, number 1, they said we have to calculate direct labor cost. Okay, we're gonna start with direct labor cost. Okay, number 1, let's take the information on 30 April. As you can see, under a total cost of direct labor, they didn't give us anything, but we know cost per unit. And what you need to know, which is very important, guys, be able to classify everything that fall under fixed cost, everything that fall under variable cost, so that you will be able to know how are you going to deal with this transaction. Because now we know direct labor is variable, which means that variable depend on how many units produced, which means that we need to check how many units produced so that we can multiply by per unit amount that we are given. Okay, per unit amount is 7 rand 56. And now let's check number of units produced. It was 331,500. 331,500 number of units produced. So you multiply so that you can get how much amount of direct labor cost. So it's gonna give you 2,506,140. Very simple, just like that. Then the following one, calculate the break-even point. Break-even point, guys, know the formula, which says a fixed cost divided by selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. That's the formula that you need to apply. So if you check our fixed cost on the table, we are given amount of 3,102,500, and a selling price, they give us amount of 28 rand minus variable cost, they give us total. You don't have to include the one that we have of direct labor, because they already give us a total of 19 rand 50. Okay, so if you do this calculation, you are going to get 365,000. It's unit. Break-even point is normally in unit. Okay, unless otherwise they specify. Okay, 2.3.2. Explain why the owner should be concerned about the break-even point and quote the figures. Why the owner should worry about this break-even point of 365,000 units. Okay, let's check how many units sold. Remember, this is the point where there is no profit, no loss. Business must produce more than this good in order for them to do what? To make a profit. Okay, so let's check. They produce and sold how many units? 331,500. And their break-even point is 365,000. In conclusion, company didn't make any profit. Company did not make any profit. In other words, company has made a loss, because no profit, no loss point is 365, and they produce and sold below. So obviously, the owner is going to be concerned about this. Okay, the next one. The owner is concerned about the direct labor cost. Number one. Okay, 2.3.3. Okay, the first part. Explain why the owner will not be satisfied with the direct labor cost per unit. As you can see, from 2017, direct labor cost is 560, and from 2018 is 7 rand 56. Simply means that there is a increase. And now let's take, if you calculate the percentage increase from 5 rand 60 to 7 rand 60, you will find that it has increased by 35%. This is way more than inflation rate. Remember, inflation rate is between 4 to 6 normally in South Africa. But the increase of labor, it has increased by 35%. This is too much. It must flow with what? Inflation. So obviously, the owner is not going to be satisfied about this. Okay, so now the other question, they say that give solution to this problem. How can the owner solve this kind of problem? Number 1, monitor overtime. You can find that these people are just working overtime unnecessarily, which is increasing what? The cost of direct labor. Number 2, make sure to monitor normal hours. Okay, in other words, guys, in this point I'm saying that you can find that, guys, these people during the normal time, they are not working, they are just chilling without producing anything, and they are just getting paid. So there must be someone who are monitoring whether these people are working or not. So I hope you learned something, guys. Please make sure that you subscribe and like this video. So those who want to join our extra class, is only 60 Rand per month. Make sure that you come and join us as early as possible so that you will attend with other learners every Sunday live on Telegram. I'm gonna see you guys. Hi grade 12 students. So in this video we are continuing with our chapter that we started for inventory valuation. So for this video purpose, I want to proceed with specific identification method as well as a average method. Okay, so let's look at the question paper. I think this one is 2019 question paper that was written around June. Okay, so number 1, it was a multiple choice. Let's just go through it. Most of the recent purchase will be considered as a closing stock in FIFO or weighted stock valuation method. Okay, number 2.1.2, merchandise purchase is recorded in the trading stock account in the inventory system. Okay, then number 2.1.3, carriage on purchase is recorded as assets expense in the periodic inventory system. What do you think? Okay, so this is the answers. Number 1, you should have written FIFO, and the number 2 is perpetual inventory system. Number 3 is expense. Okay, I hope you guess it correctly. Okay, now let's do our calculation, the main question. Number 2.2, photo fixed traders. The information related to photo fixed traders for the financial year end 30 April 2019. The business is owned by Tom, Samuel, and sell 2 model of cameras, which is Grand and Deluxe, and the photo frames. Okay, number 1, the stock of camera is valued using specific identification. Okay, when you calculate a stock of camera, you have to use specific identification. Then photo frame are valued using weighted average method. All right, now required 2.2.1, calculate the value of closing stock of camera on 30 April 2019, 9 marks. Okay, then 2.2.2, calculate the value of closing stock of photo frame, 8 marks. Then the owner suspects that the photo frame are being stolen. You have to calculate. Then the last one, we are just going to wrap it out. Okay, let's go back to 2.2.1. We have to calculate the value of closing stock of camera on 30 April 2019 using a specific identification method. Okay, now let's check on our table number A. We have bought and sold part. So what we do under specific identification, we calculate it part by part. Okay, let's check. Under opening stock, there was a 20 unit, but they sold 14, which means that the remaining is 6 units. 6 units, they were remaining. We just take 20 minus 14. The remaining has not yet sold. So remember, we're calculating a closing, the remaining part. Then we say 6 multiplied by the amount. The amount is 5,000, and we have to get answer. Now let's check the second purchase. The second purchase, it was 240, and they sold 170. You just have to take 240 minus 170, which is going to give you, I think it's 70. Let me confirm the calculation. 70. Okay, and you multiply by its price of 5,750. Okay, the first one is gonna give you 33,000, and this one 402,500. Okay, let's check the other inventory that has been sold. Okay, then the one on September, there was 180, but out of 180 they return 30, which means that out of 180 we have to subtract 30 first. We're gonna left with 150, and after that we compare 150 with 140 that has been sold, which means that we remain with 10 multiplied by the price is 4,000, and we're gonna get, I think it's 40,000. Yes, it's 40,000. Then the last part, January, it was 120 and they sold 95, which means that 120 minus 95 is 25 multiplied by 4,200. Then we're gonna get an amount of 105. That's how we calculate specific identification, guys. Then we have to get total now, which is 580, 500. You just add this 1, 2, 3, 4. They're gonna give you this one. Very simple stuff. That's how we calculate a specific identification method. Okay, then the next one, calculate the value of closing stock of photo frame. Okay, now how are we going to calculate this one? Very simple. Okay, let's look at the information that they provide to us. Photo frame number B, 2.2.2. We have opening. We take opening of 7,200 plus purchase of 108 minus a return of 4,500, and we divide by its what units. We have 60 at the beginning, we purchase 720, and we return 30. Okay, after that we need to multiply by our closing of 80 units. Okay, which is going to give us how much? 11,808. That's how we calculate it. Before we go to the next one, please make sure that you have subscribed, guys. Let this channel grow, as is assisting you a lot. And those who want to join our extra class, guys, please make sure that you text me as early as possible, so that you will be able to be added to group, so that we conduct a class together every Sunday. So if you want to know how class work, guys, I recorded the video. Go to playlist and listen very carefully, so that you won't have a problem when you text us. Please, when you text us, please go straight to the point, because we are receiving a lot of message and we won't be able to answer each and every question that you are asking. Okay, so class is only 60 rand, only 60 rand per month. Okay, the next one, we need to calculate what we call it. The owner suspects that photo frame are being stolen. Provide the calculation to confirm this. 2.2.3, we have to confirm. So if you check at the beginning, we are going to use this formula: opening of 60 plus 720 minus 30. Okay, then after that we're gonna get a net of 750. Then after that we subtract what we sold, 657, and we subtract 8. Okay, then we're gonna get an amount or a unit, 13 units. That's how we calculate it. Okay, so in other words, you take all the stock that you know that is available. We have opening plus what we bought we subtract what we return, we subtract what we left with, which is closing, and we subtract what we sold, then we're gonna left with what is missing. That's how we calculate it. Okay, then the last one. Tom is think of employing an assist at the wage of 3,500 per month to control the stock of photo frame. Explain why this is not a good idea. So the owner is thinking, oh, okay, we have to employ someone who is going to assist to control the inventory, to look at the inventory because of this missing. Do you think it's a good idea? No, it's not a good idea. Why? Because we only lost 13 units, which is very low. If you check the price of this 13 unit by the average price, I think average price is going to give you 140. Average price is this one before you multiply by 8, which is going to give you 147 per unit. If you multiply this by this, the amount is very lower than remember, it's annual, it's the whole year. We only miss 13. So the amount of 3,500 that is going to be paid per month after a year is how much? It's a lot of money. It's around 40 something thousand. So it's not a good idea. You can't spend a lot of money because of 13 units. If you check the available stock that we had, it was 750. So out of 750, only 13 units were missing. So it's not a good idea at all. We have to support by this figure by showing calculation, the one that I'm showing you, and you indicate that this amount. Okay, let me show you so that you won't have a problem. So the average, it was 147.60, which we have to multiply by this 13 of missing. It's gonna give you 1,918 and 80 cents. If you compare this amount for the whole year and you compare with a salary of 3,500, which we have to multiply by 12, and it's gonna give us 42,000 for the whole year. We can't employ someone to pay 42,000 just to save 1,900. Does not make sense. So if you show this and you also explain, you are going to get that 6 marks. So I hope you enjoy, guys. Please make sure that you subscribe to this channel so that it can. We are continuing with our chapter that we started for inventory valuation. So for this video purpose, I want to proceed with specific identification method as well as a average method. Okay, so let's look at the question paper. I think this one is 2019 question paper that was written around June. Okay, so number one, it was a multiple choice. Let's just go through it. Most of the recent purchase will be considered as a closing stock in FIFO or weighted stock valuation method. Okay, number 2.1.2, merchandise purchase is recorded in the trading stock account in the inventory system. Okay, then number 2.1.3, carriage on purchase is recorded as assets expense in the periodic inventory system. What do you think? Okay, so this is the answers. Number one, you should have written FIFO, and the number two is perpetual inventory system. Number three is expense. Okay, I hope you guess it correctly. Okay, now let's do our calculation, the main question. Number 2.2, photo fixed traders. The information related to photo fixed traders for the financial year end 30 April 2019. The business is owned by Tom, Samuel, and sell 2 model of cameras, which is Grand and Deluxe, and the photo frames. Okay, number one, the stock of camera is valued using specific identification. Okay, when you calculate a stock of camera, you have to use specific identification. Then photo frame are valued using weighted average method. All right, now required 2.2.1, calculate the value of closing stock of camera on 30 April 2019. 9 marks. Okay, Then 2.2.2, calculate the value of closing stock of photo frame 8 marks. Then the owner suspects that the photo frame are being stolen. You have to calculate. Then the last one, we are just going to wrap it out. Okay, let's go back to 2.2.1. We have to calculate the value of closing stock of camera on 30 April 2019 using a specific identification method. Okay, now let's check on our table number A. We have bought and sold part. So what we do under specific identification, we calculate it part by part. Okay, let's check. Under opening stock, there was a 20 unit, but they sold 14, which means that the remaining is 6 units. 6 units, they were remaining. We just take 20 minus 14. The remaining has not yet sold. So remember, we're calculating a closing, the remaining part. Then we say 6 multiplied by the amount. The amount is 5,000, and we have to get answer. Now let's check the second purchase. The second purchase, it was 240, and they sold 170. You just have to take 240 minus 170, which is going to give you, I think it's 70. Let me confirm the calculation. 70. Okay, and you multiply by its price of 5,750. Okay, the first one is gonna give you 33,000, and this one 402,500. Okay, let's check the other inventory that have been sold. Okay, then the one on September, there was 180, but out of 180 they return 30, which means that out of 180 we have to subtract 30 first. We're gonna left with 150, and after that we compare 150 with 140 that has been sold, which means that we remain with 10 multiplied by the price is 4,000, and we're gonna get, I think it's 40,000. Yes, it's 40,000. Then the last part, January, it was 120 and they sold 95, which means that 120 minus 95 is 25 multiplied by 4,200. Then we're gonna get an amount of 105. That's how we calculate specific identification, guys. Then we have to get total now, which is 580, 500. You just add this 1, 2, 3, 4. They're gonna give you this one. Very simple stuff. That's how we calculate a specific identification method. Okay, then the next one, calculate the value of closing stock of photo frame. Okay, now how are we going to calculate this one? Very simple. Okay, let's look at the information that they provide to us. Photo frame number B, 2.2.2. We have opening. We take opening of 7,200 plus purchase of 108 minus a return of 4,500, and we divide by its what units. We have 60 at the beginning, we purchase 720, and we return 30. Okay, after that we need to multiply by our closing of 80 units. Okay, which is going to give us how much? 11,808. That's how we calculate it. Before we go to the next one, please make sure that you have subscribed, guys. Let this channel grow, as is assisting you a lot. And those who want to join our extra class, guys, please make sure that you text me as early as possible, so that you will be able to be added to group, so that we conduct a class together every Sunday. So if you want to know how class work, guys, I recorded the video. Go to playlist and listen very carefully, so that you won't have a problem when you text us. Please, when you text us, please go straight to the point, because we are receiving a lot of message and we won't be able to answer each and every question that you are asking. Okay, so class is only 60 rand, only 60 rand per month. Okay, the next one, we need to calculate what we call it. The owner suspects that photo frame are being stolen. Provide the calculation to confirm this. 2.2.3, we have to confirm. So if you check at the beginning, we are going to use this formula: opening of 60 plus 720 minus 30. Okay, then after that we're gonna get a net of 750. Then after that we subtract what we sold, 657, and we subtract 8. Okay, then we're gonna get an amount or a unit, 13 units. That's how we calculate it. Okay, so in other words, you take all the stock that you know that is available. We have opening plus what we bought, we subtract what we return, we subtract what we left with, which is closing, and we subtract what we sold. Then we're gonna left with what is missing. That's how we calculate it. Okay, then the last one, Tom is think of employing an assist at the wage of 3,500 per month to control the stock of photo frame. Explain why this is not a good idea. So the owner is thinking, okay, we have to employ someone who is going to assist to control the inventory, to look at the inventory because of this missing. Do you think it's a good idea? No, it's not a good idea. Why? Because we only lost 13 units, which is very low. If you check the price of this 13 unit by the average price, I think average price is going to give you 140. Average price is this one before you multiply by 8, which is going to give you 147 per unit. If you multiply this by this, the amount is very lower than remember, it's annual, it's the whole year. We only miss 13. So the amount of 3,500 that is going to be paid per month after a year is how much? It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It's around 40 something thousand. So it's not a good idea. You can't spend a lot of money because of 13 units. If you check the available stock that we had, it was 750. So out of 750, only 13 units were missing. So it's not a good idea at all. We have to support by this figure by showing calculation, the one that I'm showing you, and you indicate that this amount. Okay, let me show you so that you won't have a problem. So the average, it was 147.60, which we have to multiply by this 13 of missing. It's gonna give you 1,918 and 80 cents. If you compare this amount for the whole year and you compare with a salary of 3,500, which we have to multiply by 12, and it's gonna give us 42,000 for the whole year. We can't employ someone to pay 42,000 just to save 1,900. Does not make sense. So if you show this and you also explain, you are going